What up? What up? It's your boy RVA from VA, Richmond to be exact, and I'm back again, back like I never left. And tonight specifically, ladies and gentlemen, we got a special guest on the show. I got my man Corey Sanchez, 405 from On the Warpath. We got a special guest on the Warpath on the channel coming to check us out. Corey, if you want to go ahead and plug your socials just so people can find you, even though you got a big following over there.
Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate you having me on here, RVA. Yeah, Corey on the Warpath. You can find me at Sanchez 405 on all the social media platforms. Talking Commanders gonna be live Thursday night for the Bills and the Rams, and we'll be hopefully live streaming pregame up there at FedEx Field on Sunday for Week 1. So yeah, I'm excited, man, and happy to be here with you.
I really appreciate you coming on, man. And that's cool. I didn't know you were gonna do a live broadcast from the game, so
Yeah.
that'll definitely be something to check out for sure.
Yeah, we do it. It's become more of like a tradition. So like the live practices and stuff. The last 2 years, when they had at FedEx Field, I've done one. I did some with the podcasters last year, and then I did it with some of our YouTube guys like Ed Oliver and Juan Gotti, DMV Sports Zone. We were all like kind of sitting there in the same area, so it
Nice.
was cool, yeah, and it's wild though. But we have a strong community, and that's the best thing about it. Like we're long suffering fans, and I said dealing with what we've had to deal with over the last God knows how long. You can't
Too long.
question. Yeah, you can't question our loyalty.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, most definitely, man.
Yeah.
That's why ultimately when we do get there, it's gonna feel, I mean, so much better just
Hmm.
knowing the years and years of pain we've had to suffer through, man. Hopefully we can. But the funny thing, Corey, I got to bring this up real quick.
Hmm.
I've tried to picture in my head Dan Snyder lifting up the Lombardi Trophy, and I just can't picture it. I can't picture it because him, the guy that he is, that we know him to be. If he
Hmm.
had that moment, oh, he would rub it in so many people's faces, man, for
Yeah,
sure.
he would. He would, and I mean that's you think about it. It's like it's kind of catch 22, right?
Yeah,
We can't say. I don't think I've ever heard anybody really say anything nice about Dan Snyder, whether it's the fans, anybody in the media, maybe Jerry Jones, but nobody really likes
right.
him either, right?
Yeah,
So I mean, it would be now, and I've never thought about that, like him raising that Lombardi Trophy up. But now that you think about it, it's just like something that can't compute. I think they always say like if you're in like a nightmare, right,
right.
and like somebody's trying to come after you and kill you, right, it's like you wake up instantly because your brain can't process it. I think
Yeah.
it's like one of those moments where it's like I don't know if I can really process him doing it. Like, is it a
Yeah.
fantasy or something? So
Yeah.
yeah, man, I'm right there with you.
Most definitely, man. But at the end of the day, more than anything, man, is what I want is a
Hmm.
Super Bowl back home in Washington. We deserve it, man. Loyal fans, like you said, to a fault. We've been through so much turmoil, and it seems to just keep continuing. Um,
Hmm.
I try to put my focus simply just on the football aspect of things because that's the one aspect that can somewhat, in some degree, keep me level-headed at times.
Hmm.
But with the same token, there's always, I feel like that guy that's walking in those cartoons and he got that cloud just keeps following him and it's just raining. That's how I feel sometimes, man. So hopefully this year we can turn some things around and go in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're gonna get right into it, man. Like I said, just wanted to chop it up with you, talk everything Commanders, and then also lead into the Jacksonville game. So now that you've had the chance to digest, I guess you digested. You had no choice at this point. You've had the chance to digest the whole rebrand, somewhat see it in full effect. Um, what grade would you give it if you had to give it a grade?
Probably D plus,
Okay.
and it's not because of the name or anything like that. I mean, I think there were more powerful forces at hand in that
Right.
than we realize and then we can conceptualize in that situation. I just think that it's the some of the sloppiness
Mm-hmm.
of it. I mean, you look at with the seal and everything, right? They didn't have the right they didn't have the championship years, right? Anybody can see that that was incorrect when it pulled up there, right?
Right.
And that's just a simple, like, nobody like looked at this and said, "Hey, this is not right. Can y'all change it before you roll this out again?" No, we decided to roll this out anyway. I think that at time I think the theme song, I can't stand the fight
Mm.
song. It's
Mm.
awful. Anybody with a pulse or hearing would, I think, should not like that song. I
Yeah.
was saying that it sounded like something that you would hear in a dive bar. I think it like is it? I'm trying to think of what movie it was. It had the Wayans brothers sisters up in there, and I think it's "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker." And Kim Wayans is up
Uh,
there, and she's singing so terribly. That's what I imagine the whole time. You know exactly what scene
yeah.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about now.
Yeah.
And she's just in that bar, and she's saying she's terrible. That's exactly what that reminds me of right there. It's just I just imagine Kim Wayans just singing that song, and it's just like what in the world is this? So yeah, I give it a D plus. I just don't think it's been. I think that the uniforms, the jerseys, I think are all right for the most part,
Okay.
especially the burgundy. I like the burgundy jersey. The white jersey, it's going to take some growing to get on. The pants, like they finished work at the pants. Like I feel like they went out to like a
Mm.
Russell Athletic store, and like they just say, "Well, we ain't got no more money in the budget to do anything. Can we just get these burgundy, white, and black pants with nothing down the side on?" That's what I'm like, like guys, come on. And then I like the black jerseys, but I think the most overplayed thing in sports, especially in football, is an all black jersey. That's just me.
Mm.
I will support it. I'll wear it, but I was just like, okay, yeah, we're here, we got it. And then what happened with the NFL? Right, everybody and their mamas started going black jerseys, black helmets, black this, black that, black everything. I get black goes for everything, but that gunning guys, come on, let's be a little bit more creative. But I just think that 2 years they could have got it. They could have got it a little bit better. Could have been a little bit smoother, but it just seems like there was a lot of sloppiness. But at the end of the day, D's get degrees. Some people say C's, but D's will get degrees also. And I mean, could they have done better? Yes, but I think nobody's going to be happy at the end of the day with this. Completely happy with it, and I think it's a fair criticism of them. And some people are sitting there like, "Well, we shouldn't criticize them. Oh, everything's terrible." No, it's somewhere in the middle. Like you got to realize it's somewhere in the middle. And it's cool to be frustrated about it. It's cool to be happy about it. Yeah.
No, I definitely understand where you're coming from. I was talking with my dad the
Mm-hmm.
last week, and we were discussing some of the things, and he was, I mean, a lot of the older people, rightfully so, they absolutely
Mm-hmm.
despise it, everything about it. And I've tried to be somewhat in the middle, you know what I'm saying? But like you said, some of the stuff, far as the actual rolling out and then the attention to details, especially like you said, valid point with the 2 years to do this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like you're working with high school football team money here. This is a historic NFL franchise with a filthy rich owner. And you know, definitely could have did better in that aspect. So uniforms, I'm not going to kill them too much on. Although that first preseason game when they came out there in the white jerseys, it literally put me in I was like kind of in shock. Like I'm like, huh? And
Yep.
then as the last two preseason games, I was like, okay, I can kind of see it. But then what threw me off was the burgundy pants, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
no stripe, no nothing. And then they had the audacity to put on burgundy socks. To me, that whole mixture together just didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really care for it much. And then, like you said, the black jerseys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a component of black. I mean, it's just one of those colors. You know how I
Mm-hmm.
go.
Yeah.
But they did a lot with the uniforms. We'll see what they look like once they get on the field. Those ones out of all of them kind of look a little, how can I say it, expansion teamish, with the whole strap on the stripe on the back, and the army pattern on the shoulder pads, and stuff like that. And if they come out there with black socks and those, I mean, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about those ones. So the like you said, that's too bad. I guess I'm right close to you, kind of in the C range somewhere in there, kind of right in the middle. But they definitely did not nail it by any means. But it is what it is. We're the Washington Commanders now, and we got to roll with it. So now, one of the hot topics that's been discussed as of recent, we know we had the unfortunate event with Brian Robinson, young man, absolutely killed it this offseason. He's an absolute worker coming out of Alabama, 5-year guy, sat behind a whole bunch of running backs, got to the NFL, showed the professionalism, and also put it on tape that show his ability to carry the load for this offense. And then, unfortunately, young man trying to learn a new city, and DC greets him with gun violence. So now we're in a position to where, of course, Antonio Gibson is going to be, essentially taking his lead role back. But looking at the overall season now, with all this stuff playing out, who do you see being the leading rusher for the Commanders this year?
Yeah, I think right now it would be Gibson by default, because JD's not a runner by any means. I still am perplexed why Jonathan Williams made the roster over Jared Patterson, and that could be a bias, a local bias on my part, but I don't think any running back that's ever ran for 400 and some odd yards in any level should get snubbed at any point. He did that at Buffalo a couple years ago. So I think right now it's got to be Gibson. But your back end of that room, who's left on that roster, you got that you've got Jonathan Williams, and then Jared Patterson on the practice squad. They're your only true traditional runners, right? Because JD was a wide receiver, and Antonio Gibson, people say he was a wide receiver. He was a do everything guy,
right?
And he was a second level guy. He wasn't the man at Memphis. He's never been the man. Right. Junior college, Memphis, he shouldn't be the guy. He should not be the primary guy. Right. He is. I mean, let's be honest with you. He is an uptick of what J.D. McKissick is. He's a threat out of the backfield. You can give him a couple of carries, but you need to get him out in that receiving game. You need to get him out there and do something, and you need a creative offensive mind to do that. And I'm not saying Scott isn't, but Scott's got to show me a little bit more, because I think Scott is good. I don't think he's great. I think his red zone play calling is what scares me a lot, and his third down play calling is very, very suspect at times. The situations just don't make sense to me, especially like first touchdown we had in the preseason. Brian Robinson, they're running out the gun, handoff. So you're sacrificing 3 yards. If they even penetrate that's a loss of 2 right there. And you said, like, I don't get it. Well, just get a tight end. You don't want a fullback. Get one of these blocking tight ends up in here and put them at the fullback and push forward. Dominate the guys down there. And I think, that's a concern for me right there. But to your original point, it's going to be Antonio Gibson. Right now, I think he'll be the leading rusher.
Okay. Yeah, most definitely. I can see that. I had somebody ask me the other day, they were like, do you think there's any, the slight chance that Antonio Gibson can win this job back? And I sat there and I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? Even with the valid points that you made of him never being that guy, it would be hard for me to believe that if he comes out and he's having a strong early parts of the season, that they're just gonna, pull him and put Brian Robinson back in that spot. So, ultimately it could, he could be the guy for the rest of this season, even though, a lot of us was looking forward to Brian Robinson towing that ball, because, man, the guy never gets negative yards. I mean, I think I seen one play with him touching the ball, and I mean, it wasn't even a loss. It was more or less just a stalemate 1 yard run. And I was really excited to see, what he was going to, because this offense with Carson Wentz coming in, and then having that stable force to know that we weren't being these third and long situations would be super important for us. So it definitely unfortunate that we're going to be losing him for a little while. Now with my next question, what did the preseason tell you, if anything?
This defense is horrible. Defense is garbage. They have no depth, especially in the second and third levels, especially on the ends with cornerback. I don't know who in the world is going to step up opposite Montez Sweat. They play with a lot of fear. I think that I think Cole is not a Mike linebacker. He's running in the back of defensive linemen when you've got the line of sight. That's like me bumping in the back of somebody because I have no depth perception when I'm driving in town, right? Like, it's not the person in front of me's fault if I can't judge it, right?
Right.
Because I'm the one, I've got the line of sight. They're not looking, they're looking forward. They're not looking in back of me. So they're trusting me to make the right. But Cole, he doesn't do that. He hesitates to hit the holes. It just, I mean, that's real confusing. And what the ham sandwiches Bob McCain doing? What is he doing? Like, he's always out of position. I think that we're in real trouble now with Cam Curl coming out there and the sling and the thumb might need to have surgery, or he had surgery on it. This is a defense that it's concerning. And then with the situation with Jack Del Rio, I honestly think, and I always say this is a conspiracy theory, I think they're setting Jack Del Rio up. It gotta be.
Oh,
it gotta
man.
be. And I'm like, I don't feel bad for him, but I'm just like, I mean, you going out and get John Bostic? Really? We're gonna go out and get John Bostic. Mr. Turnstile USA. We're gonna get him to come out here. And then you got a guy who we're having a problem with tackling people anyway. And we're gonna sign a guy who had a whose season ended because he tore his pec muscle.
And man, oh man, you can't make it up, man.
No, you can't, bro. It's bad. It's rough.
It's crazy. And the funny part is, though, if they're out for Jack Del Rio, he didn't aid it in any way, shape, or form. And it is absolutely, like, at times, like, they make me question myself, because you got all of these Washington fans, and we're not slow fans by any means. I mean, we love this stuff. We study this stuff. I'm not, some wizard by any means, but they have to see the stuff that we're talking about. Far as there's no way that this stuff is not sticking out like a sore thumb. Like, how do you not, especially being two former linebackers, and to neglect. I don't care. I don't give a damn if you missed last year and getting a Mike linebacker. That ain't got nothing to do with this year. Man up and take another one. You tell me you go into a draft, which there was a lot of linebackers in this draft. And if you didn't want to take one early, there was a lot of guys. Look at Nakobe Dean that we now have to see in Philadelphia, 2 times a year. The guys that fail that you could have gave a shot to, but you continue, even when Ron Rivera gets up there and say, hey, we like our guys. Okay. At this point, I'm putting my hands up. When you start making statements like that and things don't work out, Ron, I can't stand up for you. You know what I'm saying? Because you said you like your guys. So, I got to judge it for what it is. That's just what it is, man. So I got it. I know we just talked about, what you got out of the preseason and stuff like that. But if you had to buy stock in one player on the offense and then also on the defense, who are those two guys for you?
Offensively, because I think there's more promise on the offense. A player that I would buy stock in, and I wasn't a big fan of him to begin with, but I went back and watched him,
Yeah.
and I was like, hey, I think maybe I was wrong about him. I think Han. I really do. I think Jahan
Mm,
Dotson, man. I could buy a little stock in him. And I mean, it might not be this year that you can go in and cash that stock in, but I think he is going to make some plays
right.
that we that we're looking like, oh, it's like, oh, okay, this is why they drafted him. I mean, the easy answer would be Terry, right?
Right.
That's going to be
Right.
the easy answer.
Yeah.
I think which really is concerning me was I thought was the strength of the team, and I wish I could say if we were healthy, I'd say John Bates, but we didn't see him all preseason. Didn't see
Nope.
Cole Turner all preseason. You know, apparently Antonio Gibson's still going through puberty, so it's just like, I mean, that's really the only guy I can really think of is Jahan Dotson. That's promising enough that I'll buy stock in on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm gonna go with the easy answer, and I'm gonna go Montez Sweat because nobody else gives me any confidence. And I know it's gonna be at a high price, and I probably won't see a good return on what I'm paying in to it. But still, there's nobody on this team that I could really think. Maybe Jamin Davis, maybe Jamin, because we've saw it that he's improved. We've heard that he's improved. So maybe take a flyer out on him. But I'll go safe with Montez Sweat because nobody in the secondary really puts the fear of God in me.
Right.
Juice, he's got to stay healthy. When he's on, he's on. We've seen flashes of him, but
Right.
then they kind of moved a big body corner to the slot, and Kendall Fuller's on the outside, which Kendall should be where he had great success. So it doesn't make sense to me anyway. But that's none of my business. That's in Ron we trust.
It's his guys, man. He likes
Yep.
his guys.
Right.
So for me, offensively, I really like that Jahan one. Like you said, Terry's that's just a sellout one for me.
Mhm.
This one might surprise you, man. And this one will only work if they actually make the adjustment. One guy has to lose some playing time, and I'm sorry, his name is De'Ami Brown. He got to lose some playing time, and they need to play Cam Sims.
Yeah.
I'm buying stock in Cam Sims, and this is the reason why. Let me tell you this real quick before you call me crazy. If they actually gave Cam Sims more of an opportunity in this offense, I mean, the guy has shown the ability to make plays when asked of. Some of the most iconic catch from last year against Trayvon Diggs, end zone, big body guy. Now, you got Carson Wentz, quarterback, first game in the preseason. He throws this wheel route to Amari Rodgers, couldn't connect on it. And then the next game, they throw the same wheel route to Curtis Samuel, who's like 5'8", and he's trying to jump over two defenders. Show me where that makes any sense.
Don't.
These are some of the opportunities that I think should be given to Cam Sims, and I think if they put him in these opportunities, he would take advantage of them. But for whatever reason, I don't know what it is. I don't have the answers. They refuse to do it. De'Ami Brown, I understand last year, he was in kind of a compromised position because he was made to be the number 2 when Curtis Samuel, the mystery man, was supposed to be in that slot. And now his confidence has taken kind of a shot, but, a lot of people wanted to see that Sam Howell and De'Ami Brown connection. And, that was supposed to be on full display the last preseason game playing against the 2s and the 3s, and De'Ami Brown shit itself. That's just what it is. So I think a lot of more opportunities should be given to Cam Sims. And if he was afforded those opportunities, I think he would really take advantage of them. And on defense, I'm going to go with another guy that's under the radar. I'm saying this because people were upset when we let 2 guys go on that D-line. And I think this guy complements this D-line way better, and that's for Darian Mathis. I am buying stock right now, watching some of his tape from Alabama, and then just seeing what he does being an unselfish guy for this team. I'm buying stock, and I'm buying now. When Deron Payne walks next year, because I know we're not going to re-sign him, I think that Phidarian Mathis is going to be a force on that defensive line for years to come. So buying stock on my guy, Phidarian Mathis right now.
I like that. I do. I like Mathis. I like the pick when they drafted him.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't like it, but I was like,
Nope.
oh, I said this is. It was actually pretty smart. I mean, you need linebacker, but you needed to improve that D line after you let two probably the better guys on that line walk.
Yeah.
And settle, and then you cut Ionitis at the end of that. So.
Yep, that whole debacle. Yeah, I was right there. I was right there with you. You know what it is? A lot of times, us as fans, we've done probably 100 mock drafts. You don't know how many mock draft podcasts I've seen over the off season, and in our head, we think like they're thinking just like us. And most of the time, we're like way off. Like the comparisons and what they're looking for were way off. So. I think a lot of this draft caught people off guard. I mean, even the first round pick with Jahan Dotson, people were like, "What? Who is this guy?"
Yep, I was one of them.
And then, yeah.
I was one
and
of them.
then, and then now, people are just like, "Oh, reports coming out of camp, kind of similar to when Terry McLaurin was drafted, even though we didn't have that big of expectations for him." But Jahan's been absolutely killing in that camp. I would have liked to seen them get him more involved in the preseason, but. You know what it is okay. Like I said, the guy's showing nothing but promise, and you're buying stock on him, so I believe in that. So now, another question I'm going to ask you, what was the biggest surprise about this 53-man roster for you?
Oh, gosh, where do I start? The fact that you're running a nickel defense primarily, and you had 4 corners on there. You mean to tell me you didn't have, like, to me that tells me that's unpreparedness right there. That you only had 4 of the guy, and you had to go out and get some guys. One who was drafted this year and was cut by the 49ers, and then the linebacker situation is still perplexing to me. That you kept those cats, and you only had like 4. Was it like we only had like 3 or 4 linebackers on there, and then offensively 5 tight ends, the Curtis Hodges, and I guess they liked what they saw in him, but they converted him. I think they converted him to IR. Yep. So they you only technically really have 4. So I mean that was more or less, and then I told you there's a Jared Patterson. Not making the roster over 28-year-old Jonathan Williams. I'm like, I don't know about you, but I don't care how much mileage you have on you as a running back. I'm going to take a 23-year-old. If his name ain't Adrian Peterson or Walter Payton or something, I'm definitely going to take youth over experience at the running back position. I just didn't get that one, but like I said earlier, it's none of my business, but
not our business.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, most definitely. And you know what it was for me? Like you said, the unpreparedness. Like we went through a whole mini camp, OTAs, training camp. You get to the 53-man roster where you're making the final cuts. And all preseason, I don't care. You can call me what you want. I'm a Danny Johnson hater. All preseason, every single clip, every single highlight from the Panthers game to the last game, you always see number 36
getting cooked,
back turned, chasing somebody. The man was absolutely garbage. You guys didn't bring anybody in, to bolster that position, or even just getting looks at guys. Like you knew these guys that you had on the back end of this cornerback depth. Like if outside of the 3, which some of at times they can be questionable, outside of the 3, if we get an injury, we're in big trouble. So my mindset was I would have thought they would have went the veteran route with the cornerback room, right? Picking up some veterans, some guys for the back end of that roster. I like the Chris Harris in the Chris Harris Jr. and the nickel for us inside playing some stuff. I thought he could have been a good fit for us. And then, I wouldn't have mind if they would have went younger in the linebacker room. To me, that would have made sense. Not the opposite, getting the old linebackers and young corners. You know what I'm saying? So that was my biggest thing with the 53-man roster. Initially, the 5 tight ends caught me off guard, but then I was like, I mean, they're going to end up putting one of these guys on the practice squad or IR or something like that. I was kind of pleasantly pleased with Amari Rodgers and the effort he gave. Being a quarterback and making that jump, that can't be easy. And so for him doing that and, in that first game, having those catches and even in the last 2 preseason games, making some pretty good plays, I was pleased with him. And I know last year the tight end room was a issue for us with the injuries. And even going into this offseason, we got, we started camp with 7 tight ends, and then we only had 1 healthy one ready by the end of preseason. So I seen what they did there, but definitely it always goes back to the cornerback room and the linebacker room for me. Kind of surprising. The running back room, like you said, I could see your point with the Jared Patterson and the other guy. I see what Ron's talked about in his presser, how his name Jonathan Williams, he resembles more of a Brian Robinson type or whatever like that. But, at the end of the day, I think Jared Patterson probably most definitely should have been the last back to make that roster. But like you said, once again, we don't make those decisions.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to ask you, who will be Carson Wentz's favorite target this year?
If he's healthy, it's going to be Logan Thomas. I think that's who he's going to lean on a lot more. And Terry's going to get played. Don't get me wrong on that. But Carson Wentz historically has leaned on tight ends.
Yep.
So it's going to be a combination of whoever your main tight end is. Hopefully it's Logan Thomas. And we saw what he did with Armani Rodgers, right? He was just he targeted him like 5 times in that first preseason game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tight end, or it's going to be Terry McLaurin. I think that's going to be the people that he leans on the most.
Right. Yeah, I definitely love what you said. And one thing you said is a point that I've been making a lot is, I left it up for question because, we all know the backstory with Carson Wentz of him not having the best of, receivers. And, people have always said, he loves tight ends. But I wanted to see it for myself. I wanted to see here in Washington what it looks like. And for him to target Amari Rodgers so many times, like you said, definitely his safety valve, tight end. He loves those guys. Bigger receivers, big bodies, safety valves. Logan Thomas, if healthy, he's going to be definitely eating for Carson Wentz. And I'm hoping that Cole Turner can get some of that action too, man, because I'm excited for this rookie, man. I really wish he could have played this preseason just to see because a lot of times what rookies always talk about is the biggest adjustment is the speed of the game. And I would have liked for him to be able to get some snaps in the NFL game. But unfortunately, we got to wait to the regular season. But like you said, tight end, most definitely. And I'm going to say, I know people always say Carson Wentz has issues with getting the ball to running backs in the passing games, but I think he's going to absolutely love J.D. McKissic. Yeah. J.D. McKissic is a quarterback's best friend. He's that savvy vet. He finds the holes in the defense. He knows when to stop a route or to sit in the hole and just be that safety valve. So I think J.D. McKissic will definitely be have a good relationship with Carson Wentz. So that's another one to watch for as well. Now, what week do you think we'll see Chase Young?
Tennessee. I think we'll see him Tennessee against the Titans. Week 5 was that week 5? Yeah, that's probably when we're going to most likely see him is beginning of October. If it's September and we're seeing him 1 which I don't think. No, we can't see him in September either way because that's the first 4 weeks of the season. So I think he'll be ready for Tennessee. So that's
Okay.
what I'm Titans and Malik Willis. So
Okay. Okay. And to add on to that question, I've asked a couple other people this as well. What for you would would stamp that Chase Young had a productive or good season coming late in the season and then also coming off the ACL? What would you like to see from him?
I think like it's 6 or 7 sacks is not out of the realm of possibility. That's like what, 1 sack every 2 games
Yeah.
down the stretch, for the most part. So I mean, I would like to see that, maybe 6.5, right around there.
Okay.
And then, but honestly, if the team is winning, and if Montez is eating on the opposite side too, if his numbers go up and this whole defensive line numbers go up, Chase Young can have 2 sacks, and I think that's successful because it's changed the dynamic of it.
Right.
Um, I always say I don't really care about yardage as far as like when defense rate, like it say, oh, you have the second best defense because of the yards you give up. I
Right.
think defense, you can have a middle of the pack defense, but if you're in top 10 in turnovers, third down percentage, sacks, you're gonna be a dominant. In my opinion, that's a dominant defense because you're taking
Right.
away field position, you're taking away possessions, and you're stopping them on the money down, so you're cashing in. So, yeah, I mean, I think it just really depends on how this defense responds when he gets back, at the end of the day. But like I said, 6.5 sacks. I think that's a real good season for him, and um, he hopefully he can build on it and then go into 2023 and just eat again and be this potential that we thought he could be, when he was drafted back in 2020.
Yeah, most definitely, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty much right there with you. I said if he could match what he did in his rookie season,
Mm-hmm.
I would be happy with that. But also, and if he couldn't reach that number, just making some of the impactful plays that he made. I mean, some of the fumble recoveries and stuff like that, tip passes. Giving this defense an opportunity to get turnovers, because that's one area for whatever reason, man.
Mm-hmm.
This defense is always this close, but never can get it. Bobby McCain, like you said, out of position, balls flailing in the air. He's a couple seconds, just a little too late, almost gets interceptions. We seen, then you got the rookie in the preseason, Percy Butler. Ball goes right through his hands. That's another interception. For whatever reason, man, since that 2000 and what was that, 21 season,
Mm-hmm.
we can't seem to get turnovers, and that's something that will essentially help us win ball games, like you said. So I'm hoping that either he can reach that number or he comes back and has enough impact to where other guys on the defense are able to eat, and for me that would be a successful season as well. Now I know we keep talking about it, but I got to ask you, which position group is more of a concern? They're both concerning, but which one's more for you, the cornerbacks or the linebackers?
Ugh. Oh man. Oh my gosh. Lord, that's like asking what Kardashian sister's crazy.
Yeah.
Like it just they all crazy. Like it's no in between with that. I guess if I'd have to say, I feel like we have better talent on the top side of the cornerbacks. Kendall's no punk. William Jackson the third's been played out. Is playing wrong coverage all the time because of what they want him to do. He's a man-to-man corner. We're playing this zone coverage bull crap with him.
Right.
And I think Juice is. I think Juice is really good. Too. He's an average type corner in the league. This linebacking core, the questions that we just have out of it all the time. I mean, it's been a problem since they got here in 2020.
Right.
And the only thing that has not changed in this whole time, Cole Holcomb, right? Cole Holcomb, the only one that hasn't changed in this situation. But I mean, we bring him back. John Bostic's terrible, but We got Jamin Davis. We don't know what we're gonna get out of him. Hopefully, like I said, I would buy a little stock in him. But last year was disastrous because they were trying to make him a Mike linebacker, so they were trying to make him think too much, something he never done. Yep. Really, he's just a attacking type guy. You got to think this guy's got some talent. He was covering up Kyle Pitts at when he was at Kentucky, right, and Kyle Pitts was at Florida. And the only time Kyle Pitts ate against that defense was when Jamin Davis wasn't on the field. So, right there, I think it's really the linebackers more than anything because of the coaching that you have with Jack Del Rio and Ron Rivera. The linebackers should be a lot better than what they are. Yeah. And that is probably why I have more concern with them than I would with the corners. Not saying the corners aren't a concern, but if those cats stay healthy for the most part, knock on wood, I think you'll have some competitive with the corners. The linebackers, they're just, you got Mayo and all these other cats and stuff, and I mean, it just
man, oh man. And it makes it so much worse when one of them was already bad, but then when you got both of them, it's like, are you serious, man? Are you really serious? And then I just can't help to think, knowing John Bostic, because he's a smart guy, and this is football, and guys get banged up. I just can't help but see the nightmare in my head where he finds his way back on the field.
Yeah, it's gonna be like I can't get the image him on the 3rd and 16 against the Chargers, and he just like taps Keenan Allen. Let's go past. Let's go past. I said, "What are you doing, bro? Like, what are we doing?" Like it is that, and I was a John Bostic fan, and back in 2020, because if you go back and look at the defense, right, the biggest plays, some of the most game clinching plays that we had were done by John Bostic, right? Yeah. He had 2 sacks against the Eagles. He lit up Carson Wentz. I think he had an interception in that. Did he have an interception in the Dallas game too? No, I don't think he did. Remember, he broke Andy Dalton. That's what it was. He broke Andy Dalton in the Dallas game. Made him boo-boo all over himself in there. And then against Pittsburgh, he had that key stop where they went for it on 4th and goal. Yeah. And then he had a sack at the end of the year against Philadelphia too. So, I mean, was around the ball and he made plays. So he kind of made up for like some of his deficiencies that year. But I mean, last year it was just like, what are we doing? Even though he only played in like 4 games last year, it was just family. Like it's and you just, like you said, he's a smart dude, but like, where's the ability at? Yeah. This is a guy who's been on numerous teams. I think he's been on 6-7 teams. Yeah. Since he's been in the NFL. I think we actually have had him longer than anybody has. So,
and that's the thing here in Washington, no matter who the regime is, and tell me if you feel the same way. For whatever reason, guys that can't even crack the roster on other teams somehow end up starting in Washington. And it's like, if this guy can't crack the roster here, why in the hell is he starting for our team?
Yeah. I mean, you're right. But look at it this way. I'll even flip that argument on its side for you. Why do we as fans hold on to these guys that can't crack rosters on other teams? These Jags, right? Yeah. Just another guy. That's just what they are, and we're like, oh my gosh, it's it's like, here we go. I give my situation. What Taylor Heineke has done for us is, it's good. It's admirable. Right. Taylor Heineke is a journeyman in this league, and there are legitimate people out in the fan base who are like, he's the franchise quarterback. He's just like Carson Wentz. Right. I'm like, you and I are watching 2 completely different tapes than anything. I mean, Taylor doesn't have the arm. He might have the moxie.
Right.
He might have the drive and determination. But at the end of the day, if you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig with lipstick.
You are correct, sir.
And it's just like it's situations like these. Like I listen to 980 sometimes, and you got people like, well, why do we got Heineke here? Why do we have to go get Wentz? I'm sorry, did you see some of these games where he laid out? Let's go to Green Bay, right? Let's go to that Green Bay game. He's instinctual. He's a franchise quarterback. He's sliding short of the line to gain on 4th and goal.
Yep.
That could have made this a one possession game.
Yep.
But no, that's not his fault. He thought he had it.
Yep.
You can't think. You can't slide. Dive. And we celebrate. And I always say that. And I say that I use Cam Sims and I use Taylor Heineke's moment. We always talk about it's the same thing like Odell Beckham. All of Odell Beckham's like hellacious catches early in the season came in losing effort. Cam Sims, biggest plays come in losing efforts.
Yeah.
Like it's only one game he had where he lit up people. It was against Pittsburgh. But Taylor Heineke, somebody had a picture. They said, my dad just framed one of the most electrifying plays in franchise history. I said, oh, what was that? Oh, Taylor Heineke diving to the pylon. We lost, boys and girls. We lost. Like,
oh man.
Like we lost. I mean, it's a good effort, yeah, but you don't get participation trophies for just getting close, for coming up short. That's why many people are divorced today. Because, you gave it a good shot, but a good shot don't always work. You got to go out there and win and take the day and seize the moment. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just went like that. Like that just lights me up sometimes with these. I went way off the rails.
No. Listen, you good. You listen. On this show, we go with the flow, and where it takes us, that's where we will land. So
yes, sir.
Now that you brought that up, it's funny because like you said, the whole Taylor Heineke thing is so crazy because I love him as a person. Yes. And like you said, he has the moxie. He has everything you want your backup quarterback to be. And that's okay. Sometimes that is okay. But I'm right along with you on the Taylor Heineke thing because I seen somebody a couple of weeks ago posting about, Taylor Heineke. And I was just like, dude, that train has sailed. And for me, after that playoff game where we lost and he had the iconic, dive to the pylon, I wanted to see. I didn't have my Taylor Heineke fixed. The next season, I wanted to see him. They brought in Fitzmagic. Fitzmagic didn't last. That magic ran out quick. And we got to see pretty much a full season of Taylor Heineke. So for whatever Taylor Heineke thirst you still had in your body, come on, at this point should have left.
Well,
it should be gone. It should be gone. And the greatest part about this whole thing is Taylor Heineke is still on the roster, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
He may see some time.
You never know.
The quarterback we have. But this is the same thing. Like, and you mentioned them too. I took so much hell from people about Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Right.
I said, this is one of the dumbest investments you could have in a car. I laughed. I did a 2-hour stream and I literally laughed the whole time. It's like 10 o'clock at night when they said they were going to sign him. I said, this is not good. They were like, oh, he's got great QBR. He came in and won that game against the Raiders and everything. I said, yeah, he did. He did come in there and do that, but he's got to do that for a full 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't do. He's never done that. I say his best season was a 10-6 season, and he went to go. He could have rewrote his revenge tour. He's going up. The Jets were going up there. They were taking on Rex Ryan in the Bills when the Bills were terrible. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, the team that had paid him all that money, he was going up there. They could have wrote the whole thing. They could have wrote the script. You couldn't. Hollywood was setting this up for you, Ryan Fitzpatrick. And what did you do? You did like my 2-year-old cousin, and you pissed the bed. That's exactly what happened. And then he comes down here and doesn't do anything. Like, I mean, there's reports of the guy just really didn't care or didn't study, but he was like,
Corey,
yeah,
the man
yeah.
was at football games after the injury, at
Oh
football
yeah,
games,
no
shirt
shirt.
off.
Yeah, in
I
Buffalo.
mean, being the biggest fan of them all, the guy, he came, he basically robbed us. The guy, I feel like we got
Oh yeah,
set up. We got set up. Like you said, there was reports that he was hurt before the season even started.
the hip. Yep.
The hip, yeah. So, I mean, what better way? Go ahead and get you a Walmart settlement. You know what I'm saying? Fall in the store. You know, oh, my hip. You didn't already had an existing injury. And there we are. You know what I'm saying? And it's so funny because I was telling people last year, I seen the writing on the cake, man. I was telling people, I said, listen, we were talking, you know, every year we do this before we had Carson Wentz. Oh, this quarterback is going to come to Washington. This quarterback's going to save us. And I told people, I said, listen, I said, Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to be here or Jacoby Brissett. Those were the two quarterbacks that I said were going to either one of the two was going to end up in Washington, and it was Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh my gosh. It just I never forget I had Logan Paulson on last year and I asked him and I had to ask it in the most professional way. And I said, I was like, so I said, sell me on Ryan Fitzpatrick. And he like stopped. He's like, wait, he's like, what's it? He's a good quarterback, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Logan. Like I'm just like I said, okay. I said, all right. I said, thank you for selling. Because I just was not convinced of it the whole time. I just like this doesn't make sense. I've seen this movie before. He sucks. Like that's just the that's the point of it all. He's not good. He's never really been good. He's basically he's Taylor Heineke. But I think a lazy man's version of Taylor Heineke. Because I don't think I will never question Taylor's heart. Like I can do that. I could question Ryan Fitzpatrick in a minute on his heart. Yeah, he just I mean they liked him because he was a cool dude.
Yeah,
that's it.
Crazy. Got a couple comments. Let me read these real quick.
My guys.
Door Gunners, some of your guys in the building. So pumped to be at the opener. Yeah, most definitely. I'm gonna be there in attendance as well. Door Gunner again. Taylor Heineke is a solid backup. Yes, he is. And then we got Rockman 1033. He stole money. Yep, robbed us.
Stole the milk and cookies. Came in the house and stole all the milk and cookies.
It reminds me of that. I don't know if you ever seen that video with the girl, and she got short hair, and she's getting in the back of the police car, and she's like, they're like, "Did you commit the robbery?" And she was like, "I'm legally blind." You ever seen that one?
Nah, I ain't seen that. I gotta look at it.
Oh man,
shoot.
That's what that remind me of with Fitzpatrick. I broke my hip.
Life alert, help! I fall. Like that was the most old man injury. It's like help, life alert, help! I fall and I can't get up. Like,
and you know the funny part, he in a way he got away with it because everybody was so entrenched and ready to see Taylor Heineke that when he left the field, like nobody, it was kind of just like, all right, go ahead and put Taylor in there. I wanted to see him anyway.
And I didn't even see. I never saw him on the sidelines or anything after that. Like, I was like, you would at least think the guy would be in the room, like maybe helping the guys trying to win or something. That man did not exist. It was like Thanos, man.
Yeah.
It was just like he was gone. Yeah. And then the next time we saw him was in Buffalo.
Yep. Crazy, man. Corey Lott. Comment, Warpath, your man's right there.
Oh man, Corey, what's up?
Another comment, Door Gunner. Hey Corey, I will text you when I get to the stadium.
You better. We'll be up there. We're gonna turn up a little bit, hopefully.
So we got a little off track. Like I said, we go where the wind takes us. But now we are a week away from the showdown, week 1, with Jacksonville. And I want to talk a little bit about Jacksonville, just a little bit. What player on Jacksonville are you most concerned about?
I think you got to be concerned with Trevor Lawrence,
the
quarterback. I think that He's got a new head coach in Doug Peterson, and I think that he is going to he has the potential, kind of like what Herbert did last year. You got a guy coming in his second year quarterback,
right,
in the AFC team, new coach, new mentality, and you've got a guy on that opposite side that's very familiar with Washington too, in Dougie P.
yeah,
And I think he could sit there and pick apart this defense, especially with the deficiencies, like we said, at linebacker.
right,
I'm not too worried about Travis Etienne. I think a lot of people have put a lot of worry and concern in him. This is a man who didn't set on the NFL field last year, and granted, because of the injury and all that good stuff, because he got injured in practice. So I'm not too concerned about him yet.
right.
I gotta wait to see it. But it's Trevor Lawrence for me right now. I want to see what he's gonna do in year 2, and if he's this guy that we know he could possibly be, that's gonna be. I mean, because this quarterback class from last year, they've got a lot to prove.
Yeah,
and it starts with the first overall pick, and we'll see. And fun fact is, Jacksonville never won at Washington though. That's a key. So hey,
we gotta keep
the streak alive.
Keep that streak alive. For me, I've been having nightmares the last couple of days about this guy. And one of my good friends, I actually went to the Citrus Bowl in Florida. My boy is a huge Kentucky fan, and the other Josh Allen. I am concerned about him now paired with Trayvon Walker. The couple possessions that I seen Jacksonville with their starters on defense, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. That defensive line kind of looks a little scary, man. And I think that he could absolutely wreak havoc and disrupt. And we know Carson Wentz with him holding on to the ball. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But that's the guy for me. Now, Trevor Lawrence, most definitely, don't get me wrong. But for me, he got to prove it. I got to see it. You know what I'm saying? But I know for a fact because last year when Jacksonville played that team, the Buffalo Bills, the Josh Allen from the Jacksonville Jaguars absolutely destroyed that game. So that's the guy on Jacksonville that I'm most concerned about right now, currently. Another comment from Door Gunner: Jax will be much better than expected. I'm not sleeping on nobody. We don't have the room here in Washington to be sleeping on nobody. Door Gunner: Jax brought in some good free agents and a good coach. Yeah, Doug Peterson, that's the one thing for me. That's another one that could have been said outside of player-wise. If you wanted to say Doug Peterson, because like you said, he knows us here in Washington. He knows the NFC East well. So that's definitely a good one as well. And then Door Gunner with another comment: I will bring my cleats in case they need to kick. Hey, listen, bring them cleats, man, because I don't care what Ron Rivera gets in his press conference and says about Joey Sly and the whole, what he did for us last year. That was last year. And this preseason, you're kicking field goals, dude. You got to make those. So bring your cleats. bring your cleats.
You're going to boo him off the field too, be honest with you.
Now, I am a fan of On the Warpath. I always watch your channel, and I see some of the other podcasts you bring on. So this next question right here is a little dig at something I caught from one of your videos. Corey, who's the best player on the Commanders?
See, there we go. All right, we done. See, what you going to see? Like, ain't going to be... I'm an offensive guy. I think that I like Terry. I like Terry a lot. The John Allen, he can be. He's up there too. He's up there. They 1A and 1B, depending on what you want. Yeah. See, look, set up. I got set up here.
No, listen. Yeah. I'm on your side. I hope you know that. Listen. I love John Allen to death.
There we go.
I love him as a person. I love him as a player. Now, he was voted in the top 100. Okay, we get it or whatever. But unfortunately for me, and even if you look in the preseason, like you said, Montez Sweat was at certain plays this preseason, it looked like Montez Sweat was rushing by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Deron Payne and John Allen, especially in that Chiefs game,
Mm-hmm.
they were struggling a little bit.
MIA,
Okay.
right?
MIA, not doing much. So I'm on board with you on that one.
Okay.
Terry McLaurin, the best player on the team. That's what it is. But like I said, I had to bring it up because
I love it.
That argument is so funny, and it's so funny every time my man says John Allen is the best player on the team.
We have Nati, DMV Sports Zone. We had that argument all the time, Mister. We sit there. He gives me a hard time because I'm not the biggest Matt Stafford fan,
Right.
I always say I said that the Rams won in spite of Matt Stafford. I said I think you could put any comparable quarterback in there and they would have won.
Right.
But he he's big Matt Stafford fan. Kudos to him. Right. He called that Super Bowl win. Back in February of 2021. So he was riding high. He was, so if he had put that money in the bank before they had made the quarterback switch, he would have been hitting it.
Right. Mm-hmm. We got another comment here. Roger Smith. We must contain. We can't let Trevor get outside. The main thing is the linebackers not falling for the okie dokie. Their bread and butter is the zone read RPO game. Carson should be able to help JDR. Yeah. Hey, it looked like my man Rogers dialed in. He's ready.
Roger always dialed in.
Roger Smith, he knows the offense that they run. Hey, Raj, we need you on the sideline, man. Somehow or another, you need to go ahead and get you one of those coaches headphones and talk to these boys, because sometimes they don't seem to be knowing what to do sometimes. Now, Corey, I know we've been on here an hour. I got 2 more questions for you. And I'm gonna let you go, my man.
That's all right, man.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure you was good. Now, I'm gonna ask you this question. Mm-hmm. Which game are you more confident in? Jacksonville in week 1 or Detroit in week 2?
I'm gonna give you a non-answer. Okay. On this. This is a non-answer. And I don't feel like I feel like us saying to be confident in these games is borderline arrogance. Okay. This is a 7-10 team from a year ago. We are the guys that people come in here. We're always the get back team. The get back team. So to me, I don't think we should take any game like as a confidence booster or opportunity, because we are those guys that everybody gets back at. That seems like they can get right. You think about it, and this isn't just this year. You think about Detroit is a place Washington hasn't won at since 2008. And I think a lot of us remember what happened in 2009 against Detroit. Yeah. We ended the streak. They ended the streak against us. Jacksonville, I would even teeter on the line of saying Detroit is a tougher get than Jacksonville. And not saying Jacksonville is an easy win. Detroit's physical. Like, that's the one thing. Like, people, like, they battered and bruised a lot of teams, and then they went out and then they reaped that fruit. Right. On the back end, they beat Arizona with Kyler Murray, right? And they had opportunities to go out there and they could have beat Pittsburgh, but they tied with them. They beat Kirk family member. They could have beat the Ravens, right? I mean, it was an act of God that they won that game. Like, let's not take that lightly and be like, well, they beat them. Right. So, I mean, I think it's arrogance to think that we can go out here and feel comfortable about a win. I got to worry about who's right in front of me right now, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. I worry about Detroit at 4:30 on Sunday after the ball game's over, and we didn't have the time to stew over a win or a loss. But I'm not taking anybody as an easy. I'm like, it's like the grandma from the Nutty Professor, right? Said, come on over. You walk over, but you limp back. she's no easy win. These are no easy win. These are all grandma clump right now.
Yeah. I'm there. I'm there with you, man. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
for me personally, the first game, I'm going off of just the whole embracement of the rebrand
Mhm.
and us playing at FedEx Field and that whole good juju. I'm hoping, and like you said, now you just brought up a point with the streak and whatever. I didn't even know that, but that's cool to know. And I'm hoping we can build off of that environment and win that game. But Detroit for me, that's a scary one.
Yeah.
That's a scary one, especially in Detroit. But I got one more question for you, and then I'm gonna let you go. Give me a score prediction for Week 1.
Oh. Ugh. Um. Let's go 31-28.
Okay.
Joey Sly gets excited and hits a field goal to win it at the gun. But
Okay.
like I said, the defense can't stop anybody, and I think it's going to be up to the offense to match what Trevor Lawrence is. I think somebody said in one of my shows, they said, I'm afraid he's going to throw for 4 touchdowns. I said, I'm not afraid that he throws 4 touchdowns. I know he probably will. So let's just make sure we can score 5 or we can score 4-2, and then maybe get a field goal. I think it'll come down to the last possession, and hopefully we hold on and win that, and we get that first week one, because we need Week 1 victories. We don't get those too often.
Yeah,
we don't get them.
We got to start fast, man.
Yeah,
we really do. We got to take advantage of the schedule. But we shall find out next week at FedEx Field. I appreciate you coming on, my man. It's been fun.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know. A lot of times I see how the stream's gonna go, and I looked up and I'm like, oh, we already at an hour. So
yeah,
this was definitely fun. We'll have to do this again soon.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I'll be at the game, so hopefully we'll run into each other, link up or something like that. Most definitely. Thanks everybody that came and checked out the stream. It's your boy RVA from VA Richmond to be exact. Peace.